5 powerful expectations that drive every small business owner that franchising can help you meet. Let's get to class. It is said that he who knows why will always be the boss, but he who knows how will always have a work. It's one of those important things that in order for us to really graduate and to assess for ourselves how we are appearing at the marketplace, the most important question we need to ask all of us is, do I know why I'm doing this, or do I merely know how I am doing this? The person who knows why they are doing whatsoever they are doing, 9 out of 10, they will always arrive at better. They will always achieve better results than merely someone who knows how. It is very important that even as we have some of these conversations, even as we have entrepreneurial conversations, conversations that help us to build our businesses, it's important to ask ourselves, am I approaching it from why? Why am I building a business? Why am I going into this line of career? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing such? It's very important, because the person who will have a level of result that is enviable is the person who knows why. So in this class, we want to approach these drivers from a point of why. Why a small business owner will launch into business. Why an entrepreneur will take up the entrepreneurial stresses and build a business all the same. It's very important. So that is the structure that we wish to approach this class with. We wish to approach this class that, can I give you an elevated point of performance in your business that you know why? Welcome to this class. My name is Omuga Ogwang. I'm the principal at Franchise and Licensing Institute. If this is your first time here, I will really appreciate a subscription. If you can just subscribe, like, share, and let's interact in the comment section. Let's talk, because conversations are the things that will make us have informed positions at the marketplace. Welcome to our channel, Franchise and Licensing Institute. The learning objectives. This class is designed to help the student with the following. 1. This class is designed to help you begin to be aware of your entrepreneurial interest. If money was taken out of the equation, why are you still doing it? If we were to take cash out of it, why are you still into it? Why are you still into it? That is what we are referring to as an entrepreneurial interest, something that is more than merely making money. That is what we wish to get to from this class. The other learning objective is, this class is designed to help the student align their entrepreneurial expectations behind their franchising possibilities. Like we have always said, this entire year, we are interested in talking about franchising. And so anything that we'll be handling in this channel this entire year will be structured around that. Can I help you align your entrepreneurial interest behind your franchising possibilities? In one of the videos that we have done, in one of the classes, we actually went at length in defining what does a franchising possibility mean, and what is the difference between a franchising possibility and a franchising option. I'm afraid we are not going to get into that today. So if you have time, just follow one of the videos. I'm sure you're going to get that, and you're going to appreciate in your business, could you be having a franchise possibility? The other learning objective, this class is designed to help you, the student, be objective about how you build a business. Now that we have determined that sometimes it's not money that is driving us, sometimes it's not the going on vacation that is driving us, sometimes it's not getting that ride that is driving us. If we can just identify this is what is driving us, then it will help us to be more deliberate how we go about our businesses. And this is the first expectation. And I hope that through this class, you might find yourself in one of these expectations, or actually in all of these expectations, because me, I'm in most of these expectations. The first one. Small businesses sometimes are structured around the need for generational ownership. Most of us, we come from backgrounds that you are the first one to have done something. In your entire lineage, as far back as you can go, you might be actually the first person to have done what you're doing. You might actually be the first person to have made a point. And so most of us, when we are driving and when we are building our businesses, when we are bringing our value propositions to the marketplace, 9 out of 10 instances, what is driving us is, I want to do this for the generations that have gone ahead of me. And that might not be a bad thing. Sometimes change must begin at some point. It's better if we have identified, I am that individual, I am that agent that is going to structure this level of change. And if you can just identify generational conversations, generational wealth conversations, then you'll understand that that might be that silent drive that is driving all of us. That silent desire that is pushing you. That silent desire that is constantly nudging you to move ahead. The need to do something generational. The need to change the story. The need to change the expectation in your tribe. The expectation in your clan. The expectation in your family. And that is 9 out of 10 instances the thing that drive all of us. Some of us, our financial dreams, our financial ambitions are more than just me, more than just my nuclear family. Some of us, we are looking at how can I build this thing in a way that it's going to change that entire story, that entire what? Most of us, our families are known for that family. No one has ever come from that family. That family, we have very little expectation from it. And whenever we get an opportunity to appear at the marketplace, we stake all our claim on that. This has to work. My barber shop has to work. My clinic, my medical clinic has to work. Because there are very many people who are relying on this barber shop, this medical clinic to make it. And if you can identify with that, franchising helps all of us to build stable property foundations. That you can build something from your business today. You can build something out of a value proposition that will outlast you. Nothing outlasts, nothing lives like franchising. If you can just identify some of the most well-known global franchises, then you'll identify that if there is something that has the ability to go generational, if there is a business model that has that ability to go generational, 9 out of 10 instances, you'll find you're more secure to build a generational brand. You are more secure to build a generational product around franchising than any other form of business. Franchising can do that for you. If you have identified, I am at the marketplace because of a need to build something generational. I want to change the entire story around my clan, the entire story around my family. And there is nothing wrong with that, like I'd said. That can actually be guaranteed to you around franchising. You can pick something around your clinic. You can pick something around your barbershop, around your salon, around your garage, around your hardware that you can model a franchise possibility around. And if that's your interest, franchising can help you do that. Some of us, we attach business with the wealth conversations. Some of us, we attach business with what if I can build wealth. This is slightly different from the topic that the conversation that we have had shortly. That conversation is anything generational. I want to change the generational narrative from my family. Now, this is the conversation around wealth. If there is one of the most predominant area of conversation is wealth, can we build wealth? So most of us stake our claim to businesses. Most of us, the thing that nudges all of us is to be in a position where we can have wealth conversations. The conversation is this, and this is, I think, one of the things that is ideally lacking in the entire wealth conversation. We have never defined wealth. So that if I can define that this is what wealth means to me, then I try as much as possible to build my business to correspond to the level of my working definition of wealth. So just for the sake of this class, let me give you what wealth is. Wealth is the ability to produce more than you can consume. And if we attach intellectual property to it, then it's this. Wealth is the ability to produce at will more than an individual can exhaust. And so when we are looking at how we are building wealth, the way we are building our businesses, one of the things that we need to ask ourselves is, what is that component in my brand? What is that component in my business? What is that component in my value proposition that we cannot exhaust? And that is why intellectual property is the greatest contributor. Intellectual property is the greatest enabler to anyone who wishes to have wealth conversations. Because intellectual property enables an individual, as long as you are aware of what you've created, intellectual property enables an individual to produce at will. To produce at will. That is the ability that you can turn your business around. That is the ability that you can turn your car wash around. That is the ability that you can turn your salon around. What is that unique component in your salon, in your clinic, in your medical clinic, in your dental practice? What is that unique component that enables you to produce at will? That unique component will enable you to produce more than you can consume. If we can plug that awareness, that which you've identified, around a franchise possibility, can you imagine if you had the ability to influence 600 branches of car washes all across Kenya? And even if per one, you would just get 10,000 a year, that is close to 66 million of money that you're getting from a direction that this is money that is coming effortlessly. In what we say in intellectual property is intellectual property enables us to produce effortlessly. Nothing will help you to structure and to participate in the wealth conversation like structuring around a franchise possibility. Franchising expands the reach. Franchising expands the capacity to generate. Franchising expands the limits, the limits are expanded. So that is something that I would want us to understand, particularly the definition around wealth. Wealth is the ability to produce at will more than an individual can actually consume. Human beings are very egotistic creatures, beings. And if there is something that drives all of us, sometimes it's ego. Someone told you, you cannot do this. I've ran into people who at one point when they were coming up in their music in their music careers, I might have mentioned, bro, you might not do this. And so some people went steps ahead to prove me wrong. There is nothing wrong with that. Human beings, a huge part of success is emotions. Most of us, we can stay. Most of us, we have that tenacity because of emotions, what we derive from that, the pleasures we derive from that. Most of us, the reason why we set up businesses is to prove someone wrong or to prove that I can also do it. Ego, as long as it's managed, is a very powerful catalyst. The only problem with ego is when we let ego run amok, when we let our egos run loose. That is the point that majority of us, then it takes on a very negative element to it. Every person at the marketplace, particularly those people who have attained a level of success, most of these people, they are driven by ego. I remember a conversation I had once with a very successful gentleman in the real estate market. The gentleman looked at me and told me, Mr. Guang, now I don't work for money. The reason why people cannot help but pay me is now I derive pleasure from my work by building homes, constructing new projects, and people cannot help but pay me. And the gentleman does that incredibly well. I always wish had the gentleman known the possibilities he can have at the marketplace from converting his business into a franchise, converting his logo into a franchise, converting his constructional projects into franchises. Franchising helps us. If you want to get even, if getting even is in one of your areas of interest, nothing enables you to get even like franchising. Can you imagine if someone told you that you cannot hack it in real estate and you have construction projects across the country, you had construction projects across the African continent, just by licensing what is proprietary to you, just by taking advantage of your franchising possibilities. So if the ego is for you, someone might have told you, you cannot do this. Nothing gives you that ability of getting even. And I'm not saying getting even in a wrong way. Please don't I wouldn't want us to misquote what I'm saying. Some of us, you need that thing that gives you a challenge. I can go out there. No one believed I could do it. I can go out there and do it and show everyone that I can also do it. There are people that have interacted with, particularly rappers. I listened to how they were rapping and I'm like, bro, you cannot do this. Some of them have gone and they are proving. Yesterday, I met a gentleman in church who actually, after I was leaving the church for the parking, this gentleman followed me and asked me, hey, could you be blacks? And I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm blacks. And the guy tells me, a few years ago, you came to such and such a place and we were rapping. And I remember what you told us. You told us that we were joking. We were joking. So the guy yesterday approached me and said, would you mind listening to something? And so I listened to his songs. And guess what? I actually went and subscribed to his YouTube channel. Because the guy has come up. The guy knew one day I'll meet this guy and I'll prove him wrong. So if ego is for you, and yesterday I wouldn't say very proud, but I was very pleased with that young man. I was extremely pleased with what he had done out of what I might have told him at one point that, bro, you can't do this, man. The reason why I was telling this young man is not so that he couldn't do it, but I wanted to give him that anger, that rage to go out there. And so most of us, we can identify with that. Most of us, we can connect with that aspect. If that is what is driving you more than money, then franchising possibility gives you a tremendous opportunity. Some of us, and one of the reasons why people do, and we are from ego, this is another thing that drives all of us, another expectation that drives all of us. Some of us build businesses from a point of, this to me is my purpose. I am here to inspire change. I believe in change. I believe in doing something that will have a social good, a social improvement, something that will have a level of impact in the marketplace more than just money. Can you imagine if you had the ability to have your business, whatever your business is, if it's a law firm, can you imagine if you had the ability to license to franchise your law firm across Kenya? Can you imagine the level of impact you can have more than just generating money? Can you imagine if you had an audit firm that you could franchise all across Kenya and even into the region? Can you imagine the level of impact if you believe in, if service delivery to you has touched a vein of purpose, reason? Sometimes what drives all of us is more than just money. Sometimes it's purpose. Nothing expands our possibilities. Nothing expands our reach like franchising. Because franchising gives you the ability that if I can have one barbershop and this is why I'm doing barbershop. If I can just scale that to power 300, can you imagine if you had the ability to put in place 300 branches of your franchise barbershop out of what you believe in? Can you imagine the level of impact we will have? Can you imagine if you could franchise your service? If you could franchise your clinic? If you could franchise, if your greatest reason why you're at the marketplace is that bigger why, purpose. Some of us, we are driven by purpose more than money. Some of us, we are driven by purpose. And don't get me wrong, no expectation is more important than the other. At the end of the day, this is me. This is what is driving me. Nothing will elevate your ability to have tremendous effect and to have tremendous impact at the marketplace like franchising. Whatever you're doing, if you have a barbershop, can you imagine just having 50 barbershops in Nairobi? 50 barbershops in Nairobi. If you're in salon, can you imagine having 100 or so salons all across Nairobi, all across Kenya? Can you imagine the level of impact it would have? That is why 9 out of 10 reasons why you're in business, franchising can help you meet it in the shortest amount of time. Because the beauty of franchising is someone does it. Someone does it just by identifying with your brand, identifying with your product, identifying with your systems, identifying with your procedures. That is one of those things that I would really want you to begin to look at. Franchising improves and expands your capacity to have the level of impact that you want. Whether as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, whatsoever you're doing as a shareholder, franchising is one of those tremendous enablers. The other one is some of us build our business with interest of scaling. Some of us, we wish one day to scale this thing. Some of us, we wish that one day I want to build my audit firm in a way that this audit firm can be sold later. Whatever scaling means to you. Maybe scaling to some person might be, I want just to grow. I want to expand in location, geographical locations. Sometimes it's, I want to expand and I want to diversify our offering, what we are bringing to the marketplace. So whatsoever scaling means to you, and it's one of those things at this point I would actually invite all of us. What is scaling? What does scaling means to you in your business? What does scaling mean to you in your career, in that thing that you're doing? So if you can identify that this is what scaling means to me. Scaling would mean to me having 10 locations. Scaling would mean having 10 locations in 10 different countries. Scaling, whatever your definition of scaling, nothing will elevate your ability to scale like franchising. because franchising enables you to X what you want to do. And that X is on some other person identifying with what you've created. So one of the greatest challenges I always like giving to entrepreneurs is to constantly ensure that you are building the best value proposition under the sun. You are building the most important, the most valuable value proposition. You are coming up with the most amazing product at the marketplace, because your product will limit, or your product will enable you to do that which you wish to do with your business. And so if there is anything that scaling might mean to you as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a corporate executive, what does scaling mean? Some of us will look at scaling. I want to go public. Nothing will give you the ability to go public like franchising. Can you imagine if you had 10,000 barbershops all across the country? Can you imagine what that would mean? You can easily list at the stock exchange. So what all of us need to ask ourselves is, why am I doing what I'm doing as an entrepreneur? At what point will I deem that I have met my objectives? If you can if you can just connect your entrepreneurial ambitions with franchising, then I can guarantee you what franchising has done for others, franchising will also do for you. My name is Ogwang. If you found this content valuable, I will really appreciate a subscription. Just subscribe, and that bell, there is a bell somewhere. Just click that bell and connect with me. Let's interact. Why are you in business? What's driving you? Have you identified with one or any of the things that I have touched on? And if you are asked, what is that thing that constantly keeps you going, constantly keeps you going, you can actually surmount any challenge that the marketplace throws at you, because there is that nudging that keeps you going. Some of us is to provide for our families. You have that checked. Some of us is to provide for my clan, my society, my community. You have that check. So what is driving you? My name is Ogwang. I will see you in the next class. Until then, God bless. Bye-bye and take care.